So anyone wants to join us into there, I have opened up the seat and would love to have you join us and share a little bit and ask some questions of Brian. And let's get on into a little bit more. As I know, Brian, you've been working on this for quite a long time, man. I remember when you first told me about this book, I think it was South by 2011 or 2012, probably 2012, when you first started working on it. So
yeah, it was South by 2011, and as you could appreciate, having read it and all the different elements that are coming together in it, I tend to write my way around something as I learn it. The problem that I found was I thought this topic was going to be like a rich vein, something I could plug into and just really tell the stories of others. It turns out that there's not a lot about experience architecture. There's really nothing. So I thought, great, now I have to invent it. And I didn't want to be narcissistic about it. I wanted to just let the best things out there sort of inspire it naturally. But avoidance behavior syndrome took the best of me and decided to take a break and write WTF instead. And that came out in I think 2012. And then went right back to it. And I turned in the manuscript last September, a year ago,
wow.
A year and a month ago for this book at 150,000 words.
Wow.
And it needed to be 40. So it's been,
and that would have been 500 pages, right? At about 300 words per page without the graphics?
So an average business book is 60,000 words, and that's a fat one. So that would have been 3 fat books. Hey, it's Ross.
Hey, what's going on? Man, it's nice to get in here with both you guys. I just, we haven't got to connect on video yet. I think I'm pointing in the right direction, or maybe it's over there. Let me see your audio. I'm not getting your audio, Chris. So.
Yeah, Chris, we're not hearing you. Oh, hey, now it's just us.
Look at that. Boom. All right. He comes back, the whole thing. Let's change the background. It's a whole different thing. No audio. Yeah, he's going to have to pull out his whiteboard and start going analog on it.
Oh, so us again. What's going on, Ross?
So how the heck are you doing? We've been connected, throughout the thing, but we haven't got to really chat. And I'm excited to dig into more of your stuff as well. Just hearing, it's like things, sometimes you're moving on the fringe and the peripheral, and it's like, I got to get over there and dig into that more.
I think the beauty of it was always this competition for relevance, right? I mean, I think one of my biggest frustrations in all of this is how do you stay on interesting topics that move people to what's next because it's the right thing to do, not because it's what's going to be the hottest topic, get me the most retweets and the most money, getting out there on the speaking circuit, right? And that's been hard because that stuff I've watched impact my audiences, right? They expand and contract dramatically, and then you start to watch the rise of all these new influencers who come in and take over the last sector that you were creating or dominating, to find out they get bigger platforms and voices than you do. It's been a very interesting experience.
Yeah, it's funny how that plays out, and a couple of things that you guys already covered, but that plays right into it with this. It's almost the same as the business, when that structure, like I've said it so many times, where it's annoying that the customer is really only being somewhat talked about now. It's like, how are they not even a line item? How is this customer experience like, okay, we'll marketing, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we're going to look at everything over here, and then we could talk to our customers. Why would we want to talk to, like, I wrote a post on the inverse of social media marketing scalability. It sounds just too big of a title, but I hated it so much that I loved it, and I said, okay, I'm keeping it. And the whole point is why would I care to talk to one of my customers, just one? And like, how powerful is that in this world? And it's the same overlay of what you're talking about when you talk about whether it's thought leadership or this type of thing, which is, okay, we're in all these different topics, and now the whole environment might shift quickly and move. And all of a sudden, how do you position, out in that great, wavy ocean? Where exactly are you? How do you hold your position? Should you hold your position? Or should you move out of the way because a whole bunch of people are in the same position, and now you're going to start to decrease value technically just because of the saturation? And I think that's I think that's a big thing, and I think that social media goes through that wave where you go past that. Here's what I do. It's like, no, it's just like a business. This isn't about what you do. This isn't about like, oh, we spent all this time building this structure that works. Like, that's the goal. We built it. It works. It's profitable. But how do you then say, well, how do I destroy that structure, rebuild that structure 100 different ways so that I can be successful in other things that I didn't even partake in yet? How do I leverage that? I think that's the same thing for individuals as it is for businesses.
Can you guys hear me yet?
Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I got that little nervous twitch with my iPhone headbuds, and I think I broke the connection. So, that's what happens with them, right? But I want to come on this because, Ross, you really hit a really important point about that. And there's actually a lot of talk now in the whole emerging economy space about we're reshaping. And I was talking with Tom Chi over at Factory X recently. And part of their thing is, why do companies need to persist? Like, as a core assumption, right? That a company will live in eternity? Well, because of that is one of the reasons why we have so many problems as well out there. Isn't there a potential that we can reach a mature market or a place where the products that they're giving anymore are no longer needed? Like fax machines? Like fax machines, come on! Why do I have to pay to have a fax still? No one sends me a fax.
I know, it got really expensive for me because then it's like when someone wants that and I've got to be like, where the hell can I get this? Hold on. It's under my 8-track player. There's my mini disc player. Get that out of the way. Hold on. I'm going to log into my Netscape browser and figure out where I can fax something to you.
Oh, yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Hey, so one of the things I just wanted to say about Ross, about that comment you made is that, that's really at the end of the day, it's like people like you who get impassioned by whatever it is, right? Because all of these things are sort of, it's like a great confluence. It's social, it's mobile, it's whatever is emergent in terms of the next disruptive technology. But someone has to fight the good fight, right? And someone has to change the way people are speaking. They have to be likable, and they have to be inspiring, and they have to be the guy that is not a threat, or the gal that's not a threat. And the other thing too that we didn't even get a chance to talk about was, one of the biggest inspirations for this book was Tinder. And swipe, and the whole concept of swiping right, and how a simple gesture could transform an entire industry, right? So the same way that everything is the Uber of, and it dawned on me somewhere along the way that people who use Uber or Flock or Instacart or Tinder, like at some point it just becomes second nature, right? That you are going to start to expect any company you do business with to do this, to act like this, to feel like this, right? So the fact that UPS and FedEx are going to have to compete against a company called Ship because the entire model is catering to the selfish economy, as I call it, then you open up the opportunity to need more people like Ross to say it's not about how when we stop making as much money, it's about how do you start catering to a different mindset who's maybe a year or 2 years from now going to not want to do business with us at all because they use Tinder.
Yeah. I'm reminded of that YouTube video of the little girl clicking on the print magazine, and she thinks that a magazine is a broken iPad, right?
Yeah,
my kids do that all the time with our TV. Like, my little Jeremiah will be up there, and I got to tell him stop banging on the TV because he keeps like it's broken. Like, I'm gonna hit it harder. I'm like,
that one, Chris.
Yeah, that's
that's the one. Yeah.
That's the crazy piece of change, which is that, and if we think that, you could work that right back into business, right? Because essentially, aren't all the businesses like this kid in a way when it comes to change? Because what they're doing is they're looking, and I mentioned that earlier when you were talking, Brian. I said that if you're not in position structurally, like I like the points that you made about structure, because I think that structures win, and they also they also force a loss that didn't have to happen when it comes to execution. And there's certain companies that are more agile by nature, maybe not always on purpose, but by the way that they're put together and structured. And so they actually have the ability, some of them that aren't using it at all, to incorporate changes that other people are trying hard to incorporate, but their structures are killing them. And essentially, that's like that little kid who's pressing on the magazine, but why is it not working? Well, there's some businesses out there, I think, that actually want to change and are willing to change, but they haven't looked big enough. They haven't opened their eyes up to see that, I'm trying to press on a magazine. The magazine's the problem. It's not how hard I'm pressing it. And I think that's a serious issue for a lot. And that's where it takes, like with your book, the idea of taking a focal point and starting over. It's almost like someone the other day was like, oh, we've been talking about this topic or whatever the topic was for so long, and I was like, no, but it doesn't really count, because if you think that we've been talking about that for a while, I can tell you right now, I think it was around customer experience actually. And I was like, it's not even close. So until it's out there, that's like saying the internet, it's out there, the information's out there, but that doesn't mean it's showing up in my results. So it's like, until I actually search for the right thing, click on it and go to that page and get that information, the fact that it's out there means nothing. So the talking doesn't mean anything. And I like the idea of taking in book pharma. He's in and he's out.
Yeah, I think he went to sleep because he didn't touch the laptop for a while. So
hopefully he didn't go to sleep. Here's the thing: is that if companies go out there and realize that and realize that, like with a book like this, you can actually bring it down to such a focal point to say, wait a minute, okay, you want to have this conversation out here in the deep end of the pool. I'm going to start you back out with some floaties back here, and let's get a focal point on this journey mapping and things like this, and let's start there, because you have to have that seed that logically everything else should be built around.
Yes,
and I think a lot of people end up the other way. They're inadvertently reverse engineering, but they're really not reverse engineering anything. Nothing's being engineered. They're engineering nothing, and then wondering why it's not working in the organization.
Well, we have hit the top of the hour, and thankfully it looks like Brian is back to say goodbye, although I don't have a video yet. Brian, there we go. So,
there he is.
And I thought you were just putting out early because it hit 5 o'clock. I did promise you that we'd wrap up at 5 o'clock straight up. So I want to go ahead and get this wrapped up here. It's 5 o'clock on Friday. This is a special kickoff show for our new series, CXD Now. The time for customer experience design is now. And I was joined today by Brian Solis, the author of X, The Experience When Business Meets Design, which you can pre-order today at xthebook.com, coming out on October 19th. I've read the book. It's beautiful. It's practical. You need to get it if you are in marketing, if you are in business, if you care about the future of your company. You have to go out and pre-order this, seriously. Not only because he's my friend, but because it's literally the best book he's ever produced. And I like his other ones very much, but like this one really blew me away. And I think it's going to blow you away, and I think it's going to blow the charts away too. You won't even have to prime the pump at Amazon in order to do it, because the book is going to sell itself.
Yeah, well, if I got to tell you, as a human, humble author, if you could pre-order it, those pre-order numbers mean a lot. And I promise you, if you don't like it, I'll buy it back from you.
Excellent. That's a rare sort of promise right there that you don't get very much. I also just want to, before we close out here, again, thanks to IBM Commerce and the IBM Journey Designer team who have been supporting me and encouraging me to explore this topic more deeply. It is a zeitgeist moment. This is something I've been talking about for 15 years or so myself, actually a little bit longer now. And this is the moment, I think, that it's finally coming into its day. And I think everyone is going to be looking at X and the more holistic approach to customer experience, brand experience, and user experience as we go forward. And that's what we're going to be exploring over the next 6 weeks. We're going to be diving into the topics of why it's needed, how it's being done, how you can do it practically, where we're going to head in the future, so that hopefully some of this content we're aggregating and we're putting together from Brian's book and from different practitioners and how they actually do it. We've got the UX lead from Prezi lined up for a future episode and a whole bunch of other really brilliant design thinkers that we'll have on the show. And we'll get into some practical how-to as well as we look at actually collaboratively building with each of those practitioners over the entire series our journey map for We Are the Solution, a nonprofit initiative that I've recently launched. So I hope you're able to turn into the show. #CXD Now. Again, thank you, Brian Solis. Thank you, Ross Quintana, for all the great questions and additions and for joining us here at the end. And we look forward to seeing you over the weeks ahead.